All right, John Alle's coming back on the John and Ken show with the Santa Monica Coalition. This is a group of residents and business owners that are fed up and have been for some time about the problems in Santa Monica with the homeless, the drug users. I think the last time we talked to them, there was a number of overdose deaths in that city. They were handing out needles. LA County Health Department was involved in that. The story this week is that a city councilman by the name of Phil Brock was attacked on the promenade because he was telling a vagrant that maybe you should be putting that stuff you're tearing up. He was tearing up these posters or something, and Brock said, why don't you put that in the trash? And that just set the vagrant off, but he was subdued, and he was taken away. We don't know what happened. Anyway, let's bring on John Alle. John, how are you?
Hi, nice to be on with you, John and Ken.
Were these your organization's posters that this vagrant was tearing up in front of Councilman Brock?
Our organization has two big banners that say Santa Monica is not safe and end the needle distribution program in our parks. But the sign that the vagrant was removing was an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with a QR code. He couldn't take off anything else. The city councilman identified himself, told him not to litter, and that's when it escalated. A tussle broke out about 500 feet away on the next block, and the police made an arrest.
You have a list of all the things that have happened just that day, right? Because much of the coverage was on that guy and Brock, but you have a list of 2 shootings that happened on the boardwalk near the pier. 2 homeless exited a bus in front of the REI. I've gone to that REI store many times. One of them got stabbed multiple times. 2 dead bodies, one at Wilshire and 14th, one at 6th in Colorado, and 2 reported overdoses. That was just that day in Santa Monica.
And none of that was covered by the media, and I wish the council member would have emphasized that, because that's what happens on a typical day. Typical weekend, typical weekday. And I'd like to ask him, and how was your weekend? But we did some further research, and we found out from this case that the 911 dispatcher is not in control of the police, believe it or not. It's separate. The city manager took it away from the police department a couple of years ago. The police drones are in operation only on weekdays, and there's no funding for it on the weekend right now. It's not working on the weekend, and there are no undercover plainclothes cops to stop or infiltrate the drug dealing that's going on and setting these homeless people into action.
Yeah, you talked about the media not covering stuff. I find out what's happening in Santa Monica by going on the Nextdoor app, and people are posting photos and videos, for example, of a shooting at the beach that happened a couple of weekends ago near a lifeguard station. And I looked all over the place for news stories regarding the shooting, which caused quite a commotion on the beach. It was in the evening, either on a Friday or Saturday night, and there was quite a crowd, but nothing on the news. It's almost like there's a blackout on this stuff now.
We brought it up in the city council meeting. We actually, the father of the individuals that were in harm's way spoke up, played the tape, played the gunshots. The council members on the dais looked down. They were texting, giggling. It was very disrespectful.
So he's playing audio of a shooting?
During the public comment and talking about there not being enough police coverage, that the dispatcher took a long time for the dispatcher to answer. And the dispatcher is not even under the police control. That's got to end right away. And so do our drones. There was a police helicopter from LAPD. They recorded everything and showed drugs, alcohol, weapons, but there weren't enough police. And that's the problem. We're underfunded, and the police aren't getting funded what they need.
But this is intentional on the part of the city council. It's intentional. Sure. This is what they want.
Any cent we spend on law enforcement and even mental facilities will translate into 10 cents in additional sales tax revenues.
John, Pete,
John and Ken, we've got a government, a city council there, and a mayor that's a throwback from Jane Fonda and Tom Hayden. It's called SMR, Santa Monica for Renters' Rights. Rent control is not going away. It's like every election, people say the other party is going to take their Social Security away. It's not going away, but they dominate every election, and they've hijacked the government, and these issues aren't discussed during the elections, and the same people win.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just going to say, John. You've been coming on our show for years, and I'm happy that you do, because we don't get this information from anywhere else. But we've gone through several election cycles now, and the same kind of people keep getting elected. So this is what you get. You get the government you deserve. And in this case, you get people who don't care about shootings, overdoses, deaths, and all the other mayhem going on with the homeless. They don't care. And the public keeps renewing their contracts. They keep getting reelected.
Well, we find that there are more and more people coming out of the woodwork, not afraid to be quiet. Our group has grown to 5,000 people. That's as large as SMR right now. And we think we can make a difference in the next election, and we're going to try. And even if it's a lawsuit or a recall of the entire council, none of them are helping. That might be what it takes. That's what's being discussed.
You have people who have absolutely no sense of pride in Santa Monica. They don't want it to be a beautiful, safe place. They don't want the tourism anymore. They don't want the shops and the nice restaurants. They don't want all the visitors who go to the beaches. They don't care. They don't care if people get shot dead. They don't care if people die of an overdose in the street. It just doesn't matter to them.
It's really a perilous time for the retailers and the restaurants. They're fighting for their survival. We did a survey over the last 2 weeks, and we contacted every retailer and restaurant from Ocean Avenue, along Wilshire, along the 3rd Street Promenade, throughout downtown. And every single one said that they're seeing 25 to 45 walk-in thefts and walk-out or run-out thefts a week. We went into Anthropology. They said, a week? No, how about 1 an hour? We went into Victoria's Secret. She said, John, I'm so happy. We're not open till 9 anymore. We're closing when it gets dark at 8. I can't wait to get out of here at night. That's the fear. Can you imagine having an employee talk like that, fearing for their lives? It's not compassionate, and the city's going to pay a dear price in sales tax revenues. The hotels are already suffering.
It's like a mini version of San Francisco. Well, John, we always appreciate talking to you and bringing us up to date. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that's John Alle with the Santa Monica Coalition. That's a group of business owners and residents who are trying to affect change in the policies of Santa Monica government when it comes to the homeless, the drug addicts, and everything else that's going on there.